Product research doesn't have to take that long. It doesn't have to be hard. And in fact, you could find your product in the next 2 weeks. Now, instead of just going over what every video I've ever seen about Helium 10 goes over for product research, I wanted to show you something pretty epic that they just launched recently. It's called ABA, so Amazon Brand Analytics. Top search terms. This is a new feature, and I've been having a lot of fun with this. This is actually pulling information directly from Amazon's brand analytics report, and it gives us some pretty interesting possibilities here, right? This is very accurate data that we're able to go through and see if we can find a customer who's searching for something that we can sell them. And then once we find that customer, we just have to make the thing that we find irresistible. No, don't worry, I'll teach you how to do that. In fact, I have a little treat for you at the end of this video. After you find your product in the next 2 weeks, I want to hold your hand through the rest of the process. And I've got a really good resource for you to do that with. And no, don't worry, it's not some big expensive course that I plan on selling to you. So we can get more specific if you wanted to use this for your personal brand research reasons. Phrase containing, exclude phrase containing, but I'm not biased right now towards any phrases. I just want to see what's going on. And we'll get into these later, but for the very beginning portion of today's video, let's just use search volume. So I'm going to go 8,000 search volume to 30,000 search volume. And let's just hit apply filters. That's all I'm going to do. And what this is going to do is it's going to come back to us in a generic way and just tell us phrases that have been searched 8 to 30,000 times. And the significance of that is in the volume. That's the right range that I like to look for. Somewhere over 10, right? Less than probably 60, 70, somewhere in that 30 to 50 range. Now, right off the bat, we're getting a big list of ideas that we can already see the search volume here is sorted, and we're seeing the largest search volume first. I like to start here. Just how they load it is fine. We're going to look through here. You'll notice some of these like peas. I'm not going to start a garden pea company, but already dog ear infection treatment. That sounds pretty interesting to me. And then if you notice, the products that are showing up here are the top ranked ASINs for that search term. So we get to, kind of without leaving our browser here, we can look at what the top of the page for this looks for, top 3 ASINs here that are purchased the most. And get an idea of right off the bat, do I think I can contend with them? Or is there a very disruptive, high quality brand here that clearly already knows what they're doing? In which case I might want to back down or maybe go another direction. So in this case, I see very old pharmaceutical looking packaging, and nothing is really pointing out the dream outcome of the customer to me right away. Like I would have the whole packaging would be pointing to the direction of the pain point being the ear infection. So maybe there's a dog ear on the front of it, and that's what's on my mind. So I'm going to try and get the customer's attention that way. Let's open that actually, and that's one idea, and that's the type of product that I'm okay with doing. If there are some barriers to entry that I have to look through, I had barriers to entry to my market. It wasn't just something I could go on Alibaba and get and throw in a box. But that's why it's successful, and that's why it's profitable, and that's why it's growing and not dying, right? And I'm not worried about red ocean competitors coming in and nipping at my sales. I don't care, right? Because they're buying from me, my brand, and my story. They are not voting for the other brands / private label sellers, okay? So when we go into markets that initially invoke a little bit of anxiety into us, we're like, there's too much here. Like, how the hell am I going to make, I don't know the first thing about antiseptic ear flushes. Like, yeah, but you learn, and you learn pretty quickly. So I'm not here to convince you to sell this product, but I just wanted to soothe some of the anxiety around products of this nature, because I'm going to click on more of them like this. Now, in this case, the market itself is actually quite large. It's on the top end of where I would ever consider starting at this point in my journey. And these revenues are actually just way too high. So despite everything I just said about the nature of the product being true, the market itself is so large that I probably wouldn't compete here. So in that case, it's an easy fix. We just click off of it and go back. So using this kind of blueprint that I've built and mental checklist that I have, I can look through these ideas and then just compare them to that framework. And so it starts with looking at the ideas and thinking of, could I add value here? Is it in the size of maybe a shoebox? I don't want to sell anything too big and too bulky that's going to be a logistical nightmare. expensive to ship. I also don't want to sell anything complicated. And so actually to me, a a dog ear infection treatment sounds simpler to manufacture than something like, gosh, even some of these, like the mini printer. Yeah, that's so much easier, right? Because there's already formulations out there and principles about how to formulate a product that does that kind of thing in antiseptic ingredients versus re-engineering, modeling, and making something onto a production line that has all these moving parts. That's going to get very complicated very quickly. So let's just keep looking through here. I'm here to hang out with you, chill a spot on the Amazon FBA side of the internet. So yeah, let's do some more product research, slow things down a little bit. I have to slow things down or else I might have a heart attack. I've been talking so much. So let's see here. Lego. We want to stay away from big name brands, but this is good. And like what is Tudka? Tudka? It's fun to say. That's all I know. Tudka. I changed the name of the channel to Tudka J Savage. All right. So my workflow goes like this. I'm intrigued by the product idea, right? What's Tudka? I'm curious. And so I'm going to stop saying that, I promise. Maybe one more time. I see the product. It's interesting to me. It's small enough that I feel comfortable going into it. And there's this level of someone is using this for something very specific. So with something like this, a supplement that I've never heard of before, it's obviously being used for a reason. People are getting recommended for it. So I'm starting with customer first in my mind. And I'm starting with a point of view, which is even more important. Like I'm starting from a narrative-based story in my head of even just by looking at the picture. I know this sounds crazy and you're like, yeah, you're just saying shit. Like you're not actually saying anything. No, it's just, you don't understand what I'm saying yet. And so I'm going to make this apparent to you because it's a very big switch from how I used to think when I was just looking for private label products and looking for stuff like this guy, right? This guy doesn't know what I'm talking about either. Okay. So when I see this, I see something in a pill, I know that I'm going to be able to source that in the US. It's just one of my first pieces of criteria. And even if I can't source domestically, I know I'm going to be able to get that ingredient, right? It's so simple because it's actually just an ingredient. And so then I know that the second thing that I like here is how well am I going to be able to position a story for this product? In any market where the packaging is in the main image, you got handed a handful of aces essentially, because selling this is actually harder to grab attention and turn an impression into a click than selling this because I have this big canvas to paint on. Does that make sense? And so I see that, I like that, and then I go into the market and I start doing my next piece of the Helium-10 puzzle, which this comes with the Platinum plan, is analyze products. It's going to generate right here for you. And I'm just going to look at sales initially, and I want to see that my criteria for the most part, somewhere around 8 out of 10 of the top sellers are doing 5 figures of revenue. And if we have 1 or 2 brands that are doing 6 figures of revenue, that's okay. And so we actually do have that here. There's a few repeat versions of the same product, which are, let me see, let's click onto this. Is it a variation? Yeah, it looks like a variation. And so those are the same listing, so I'm not going to count that as 2. And so we really have, that's one of the 6 figures, same thing. And we have 5 figures, 5 figures. This is a new one of the 6 figures, new one of the 6 figures, old one, repeats, and 5 figures, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Okay, cool. We're pretty much right there. I know the data is showing a little weird, so it's hard to kind of understand in this example. But I would click into one of these, and I like to click into one of the mid-sized ones also, not the biggest one in the market. Let's go this one right here, Tudka. There we go. 119. And so now I'm my radar turns into, again, brand story. How well am I being sold? How well do I understand what this product's for? It's your job to tell me what it's for and why you're better. Let me change the word better. Why you're a more innovative solution to this problem than anyone has so far. Have you combined ingredients in a certain way that make your formula superior? Which elements of the products did you raise far above market average? Which elements of the product did you reduce? And so let's see here. First of all, it sounds like they're referring to an individual ingredient. So my brand story right off the bat would be like, what is this thing that we're saying? Like, what is the story of that ingredient? You know, surely someone discovered that and how it links to helping with whatever this, it looks like, digestive issue is. And that would be my story. And so I would probably have some type of doctor something brand. And the story would be of the discovery of this and why it solves your exact problem as a customer. And so again, I'm customer story first. I already know these sell well. I know that they're buying the packaging. And so all I have to do is make it more likely that when they land on my listing, they actually buy from me. So I, as a human, scan this stuff. I don't read this. I don't really read that. I'm probably going to read, actually, because it's so big and so simple, so few words. Generally, if you want someone to read something, make it less than 8 words and make it bold. So we scroll through here. There's pretty good movement, right? As my eye tracks through this, I kind of start looking at these two. I read that a little bit. I come over to the other side of the screen. I stay there, and then it starts pulling me back down to the left-hand side. I read those, come across, and come to here. So there's pretty good creative flow there. This listing isn't bad, but their story needs a lot of work. There's no narrative and there's no point of view. It feels pretty clinical. And so that's a good example of how I would use the ABA search terms tool to find a market. And you, on your path that you're on, I would encourage you to keep looking through this list. I don't need to go find another one. I just showed you that this worked, but I do want to show you what this stuff means up here. So on the Amazon Brand Analytics report, you get a click share and conversion share for the top 3 ASINs in the market. And just to explain what that is really quick, if 100 people searched one of the terms that we found below, let's use portable toilet as an example, then 20 of them clicked onto one of the top 3 listings, well, then there would be a 20% click share on the top 3 listings. And if 10 of them then purchased, there would be a 10% conversion share on the top 3 listings. Does that make sense? And so just to show you that I walk it like I talk it, I want to throw my market up on, I guess I just said that, up on the screen here, and what my competitive landscape looks like. And you can see I have highly motivated buyers, right? On average, 20 to 30% of customers click on one of the top 3 listings when they enter the market. They also buy at a rate of about 9% on average. If 100 people search, 10 of them buy. And we can compare that to some of these markets down below. Actually, I had a hiccup with recording, so I had to change some things. But so all of these will actually be pretty good, right? Because I already filtered by it. But damn it. By the way, if we look at our friend Tudka here, 48%, 41%. I mean, they're capturing massive market share. And so then the question becomes, do I think I can sell better than them? Now, we know social proof might play a role in this, and what maybe even some doctors or people are recommending to people. Who knows how we're getting there, but it's the start of the journey. We start asking the questions. What is important is that when customers land on your market, they're buying. And so what I want to show you how to do now is to actually use those different filters and use that to your advantage. So I can say, only show me markets in which 10% of, a minimum of 10% click share is apparent. And then only show me markets where customers convert higher than 5%. And so when I do that, I'm going to get a new refined list of product ideas. And we'll see some of the same ideas pop up because some of these were good. But now we have turmeric curcumin supplement. And we have, let's see, a whole new list of stuff. And so I would encourage you at any point to just keep going through and thinking in each case, do I think I can make something from a place of compassion and empathy in which the product that I bring to the world is truly valuable? And do I think that I can tell a story to this specific customer? Or is the customer pretty broad and we'd have a hard time communicating to them? I want to give you a resource that takes you from this point on, and I'm going to give you an assignment as well. I want you to try and find 50 products. Have a customer that you think you can tell a story to in which the customers are highly motivated to purchase. So they have a high brand share or high click share in the market and high conversion share. And I know, someone's probably thinking, yeah, but there's a high conversion share and click share on those products. Yeah, but we're going to blow those products out of the water. Trust me. It's why I sell what I sell and how I compete with nationwide brands. And so don't worry about that. And the resource that I have for you is that I made my Amazon FBA course, Savage Sellers. It's not really just a course, it's a community, but it's pay what you want. And so you can join for anything over $1. And so this is not to make me rich, but it's truly to help you. It's my gift to you. And I want to teach you the ways of switching from private label to brand building, why it doesn't have to be more expensive, and why in the end it's more fulfilling. You get to build a real company, a real brand. You still can start with, I started my brand with about $6,500. And it's deeply meaningful to me. And so I wanted to share that with you. We do a live Q&A every other week. There's course videos that take you through this process, explaining how to find your product, how to actually add value in a marketplace, all the way through to launch. And we're still developing that course actively. And that's why I said it's part of a community. So we talk there, I post there. So go check that out. There's really no reason for you not to be in there. If this is something that you're serious about, and like I said, you can pay me $1 to be in there. And I'd make it free, but you'll appreciate it more if you actually have to pay something for it. So go cross that slight barrier to entry. I'll see you in there. Thanks for being here, and we'll talk again soon. Later.